everybody. Get over it.
It's time. Welcome to PR Wars, coming at you live from Atlanta, Georgia. Now, here is your host, Chris Shigas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to PR Wars. Chris Shigas here. How's everybody doing? You okay? You hanging in there? Everybody healthy? Boy, talk about issues management. You know, coronavirus, Black Lives Matter, quarantines, we have unemployment. 2020's been a ringer. What a great time to be talking about crisis communications, issues management, disaster PR. Where do we go from here? What's our plan? Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Probably as a public relations professional, your counsel is needed the most in the most desperate of times. How are you guiding decisions, and what is your North Star? And remember, a company, an executive, a CEO, you will be judged based on the decisions you make once you knew there was a problem, right? I mean, the American public can be very forgiving. The coronavirus, you did not create the coronavirus. But the decisions you make from the point that you knew there was a problem, that's how the public will judge you. So what do you do to counsel an executive, a CEO, when they're faced with a crisis? And a CEO may have all kinds of conflicting thoughts. They're worried about the health and safety of their employees, first and foremost. They're also worried about operability. How are we going to stay in business? They're worried about legal implications. They're worried about the media, a whole host of things. A few years ago, I got a call, and there was a CEO of a nursing home, and he needed help. There was a shooting inside his nursing home, and there were news stations all over his lawn. There were helicopters overhead. Police had cordoned off his entire facility. Turns out just a horrible incident where a gunman walked into a nursing home and shot and killed 8 elderly people in their beds. It was awful. And now this CEO had to navigate through this. And think about it, in most disasters, especially like a workplace shooting, the scene of the shooting is closed down while police conduct their investigation. But in this case, it was a working hospital. It was a nursing home filled with elderly patients. So they had to remain open and operating while all of the police and all of the media and all of the attention of the country was focused on this small town in North Carolina. I drove to the nursing home, and when I got there, I saw a heavy police presence, crime tape all the way around the building, news satellite media trucks parked on the grass, and news helicopters flying overhead getting ready for the live shots. I went under the crime tape and entered the building. And I turned to my left, and I saw some patient rooms where the police were inside, detectives were inside, and they were investigating the crime scenes. And as I moved forward down the hallway, I found a circle of the employees, and they were all holding hands and saying the Lord's Prayer. And I turned into the office of the CEO, and he was sitting at his desk with his head in his hands, and he looked up at me And he said, I am so glad you're here. It's at this point you realize what we do has value. We need to help people in a time of crisis. When you have Good Morning America leaving messages on your cell phone because they want an interview with you about something that is horrifically negative, the amount of pressure and stress you're under, let me put it this way. Despite all of the attention that was focused on this CEO, he was completely alone at the time and really needed a guidance of what to do next. He was under stress. He was in grief. My advice to him was to do the right thing. Let's make that our North Star principle, that whatever decision we make from here, our litmus test is going to be, is this the right thing to do or not? And my counsel to the CEO became, I need you to call the families of the victims personally. We don't want the families to hear about this from the news or social media. It needs to come directly from you. And in the back of my mind, I kind of knew that the news media is here today, but tomorrow they're going to be talking to all the families and getting their stories. In my head, at least this leader had the decency to call each family personally and let them know what happened to their loved one. That is not easy. It's extremely hard. He started making the phone calls. The families were justifiably angry, really mad. Some of them yelled and said, "You were supposed to protect my parents. I trusted you." When he was done making all the phone calls, hung up the phone, and he sunk down in his chair. And that was the hardest thing he's ever had to do in his life. But you know what? It was the decent thing to do. It was the least he could do. It was the right thing to do. At the end, humans need to recover from a tragic event with some sort of hope in humanity. Hope in humanity. So let that be your guiding principle and do the right thing.